Well, welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, Retirement Planning Made Easy, part 3 in our series on the Journey Guide to Retirement with mathematician and software creator, Michael Smith. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Okay, now, Michael, we're talking about trying to make, I want to make it easy. Now, the thing about your software really is dramatic, in my view, is there are monster calculations going on behind the scenes here.
That's right.
It looks so easy. The input looks so easy, and the adjustment live with the client right there. I love that.
That's right.
I mean, that's fantastic.
It's on demand. You're seeing the impact right there.
I love on demand.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this, we're going to talk about a few other things. We're going to use an idea here. We're going to take one asset, and we're going to try to just make one modification to that asset and plug it in to see if I can make that number move without moving the Social Security. That's right. Are we moving
That's
it?
right.
We're not going to move Social
We're
Security?
not going to, not at this point.
Okay.
Yep, not at this point. So we're just going to see, well, what happens if we can address some of those risks that are so prevalent, right? And so what we're going to do, one of the main risks happens sequence of return risk, right, as well as longevity risk. Those are two of the key risks that really need to be addressed. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to look to see, can we increase the guaranteed income, that guaranteed amount that the client can actually receive for the rest of their life. So what we're going to do is actually look at where that money is going to come from. So in this case, we're going to pull that money from non-qualified and actually purchase a guaranteed income stream of a deferred income annuity. Now, what we're able to do, because we have interactive live quotes coming in, we know immediately what the prices are of deferred income annuities are today. We're able to pull up exactly what those quotes are. And we're going to defer that income out a few years, and we're going to put in $250,000. Again, I'm doing this in real time, and an example of how can we maybe reallocate those assets. So immediately you can see what is the impact of reallocating those assets from the portfolio into a guaranteed instrument that we know we're going to be getting that money.
Okay, let's just make I want to make another point here. Isn't this 91,000? Now, we just made an adjustment from 87,000 and now we're up at 91, almost 91.5. That's day one. Even though I'm deferring the annuity into the future, that number has impacted our current number.
Exactly.
See, that's me. There's the drama.
Oh, absolutely.
I just increased it by pushing something. How can I increase today's money pushing a deferred income annuity out into the
future? It's so counterintuitive, isn't it?
It is for me.
It is, but what we're doing is because we know we have that income coming in a few years, that allows us then to look at, okay, how can we fund today's income from those other sources from the portfolio, because we know, okay, it's coming in a few years. So what we can do, this concept of actually adding in a guaranteed income stream from an annuity, similar to bonds, we can actually ladder those guaranteed income streams. So we added one already, deferring out a few years. Well, what if we actually pull now from Joe's qualified account? So there's this thing called a qualified longevity annuity contract. It's a very interesting and unique type of instrument that allows the client to actually defer RMDs. Nobody wants to pay RMDs or have to take RMDs. This allows them to actually defer that. It's a very unique thing in the IRS code. We're actually going to defer out a few years beyond that and put $130,000 into that product. So again, immediately what we can now see is, well, what's the impact? Again, all we're doing is just reallocating assets here, Steve. We haven't introduced any new money into the plan. All we're doing is adjusting what they currently have.
We've increased our position day one without increasing our beta risk on our portfolio.
Absolutely.
That is a huge issue.
Absolutely. And so, in fact, what we've actually done, in some sense, is actually reduce the overall risk of the portfolio because we've actually put it into a more guaranteed instrument.
Now, because this is taking care of taxes and from an advisor point of view, remember, I like this because this is going to be calculating my Tier 1 and Tier 2 Social Security impact as well. So I have a real advantage here to look at a number like that and say, I've increased our position without increasing our beta.
That's right.
I love that all there. And this is, again, even though we're deferring the qualified longevity annuity contract into the future, that number is today's impact number.
That's right. That's right. And just another point about those instruments that we actually chose. So we're product agnostic, meaning we're not looking at one particular insurance company or carrier. What we're looking at is actually the top 5 of A-rated companies or higher. So it's high quality, income that is coming from.
Okay, can I make sure I understood you, because I think the advisor appreciate it. You're shopping the top 5 DIAs and or SPIAs to make this event happen.
That's right.
So when I go to the client, they're confident that I've shopped the top of the cream of the crop, the best of breed. That's what I'm looking for. Okay.
That's right. Which some of them are actually rated higher than the U.S. government. So these are very high quality companies. So we can rest assured that this money is going to be coming in, which you can't necessarily do when you're looking at maybe possibly a bond portfolio.
Sure. Okay, now when I'm looking at this, and we talked about spending patterns in the past, we looked at this as the income. Is that income then based on those spending patterns? Is that incorporated in this?
That's absolutely right. And so again, we showed here actually that we can have an increase from about 88,000 up to 93,000. That's a dramatic increase. Well, we can actually see, if you remember in one of the previous sessions, we actually were able to see that cash flow. And we can actually graph that again in real time with the client and be able to see, okay, again, here are my spending patterns. Well, where is that money coming from? So we have that guarantee that's coming in from Social Security, but also from that annuity. And so we know, okay, if we look out here, and let's say that the client happens to see a very, very poor market. Well, what happens if, and this is something that so many clients are afraid of, right? What happens if markets don't perform the way that I would want them to? Am I going to run out of money? Well, when we get out here to the mid 80s and hitting into their 90s, if they run out of assets, if markets actually are on the wrong side of them, they still have that income coming in. And you can see, Steve, graphically what that impact is. They're going to have the income from Social Security as well as the annuity making up almost 3/4 of that income.
Now, for you advisors, and I do a consumer show, I'm telling you, when people see a graph like this and they look at the guaranteed Social Security income and the guarantee coming from SPIAs or DIAs, one of the big thrills is they can say, well, if I wanted to guarantee that for my essential spending and my discretionary spending, I could buy more of the annuity to cover both. And I can't tell you, that is the sale today in retirement cash flow. I love that you've incorporated the expense loads. And so they're going to make that call because, hey, could I move that guarantee up?
Oh, we see this so often, Steve, because what happens is as you're interacting with the client and the client says, okay, I love this. I love being able to see that I'm going to have that income stream. But if they're even more conservative, and after seeing this, they decide, okay, I'd really like to have some of that income even start sooner, immediately we can go back and make that change. So it allows the advisor to have that interactive dialogue with the client in real time instead of having to go back, run another plan and see, okay, well, what is this going to look like?
This is why I like JourneyGuide, because this is doing something that every single client understands. Monthly cash flow. That's what I'm after.
That's right.
It's not about asset accumulation any longer. It's about monthly cash flow, and I want to guarantee my discretionary as well as my essential spending.
Exactly.
Okay, so now when we're looking at these, and I could say again, none of this is, and I say this, it has nothing to do with the software. It has everything to do with, we're not including any market changes. We're trying to get to some number, and I think the number we used in the first segment was 5%, right? We're not looking at something big here.
That's right. That's right.
So listen, any maneuver, any change in the market from a risk point of view from 5% down is going to impact that number.
That's right. That's right. Now, and we'll talk a bit about this in another segment, exactly what the impact could be in terms of either poor markets or good markets. But it's so essential to be able to put this all in perspective with the client, right? Because these are not simple concepts when we're talking about sequence of return risk or even longevity risk. But what we're doing here is we're putting it right into a number that they actually understand. They know, okay, this is something I can get. I can spend 93,000, and that number's bigger than 88,000 or 87,900.
Without really sacrificing their lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Listen, don't forget to watch our next segment on comparing retirement plans at a glance, part 4 in our series on the Journey Guide to Retirement. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or your financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.